sky had turned dark. It was not yet evening, and yet the heavens mourned. The sun, as if ashamed of what it now illuminated, hid its face behind the clouds. The winds howled, whispering secrets only the trees could understand. Around me, voices rose, not in praise, not in mercy, but in mockery. Laughter, jeers, curses. Stones were thrown, words sharper than the nails that held me. My hands stretched wide, the wood rough against torn flesh. Blood flowed freely, mingling with sweat and dust. My body trembled, not just from pain, but from the weight I carried. This cross was more than timber. It bore the burden of all mankind's hatred, bitterness, and pride. And yet, I looked down. I saw them, the soldiers, hardened men who had done this 1,000 times before, who cast dice for my robe as though I were already forgotten, who laughed as if this was nothing more than entertainment. The Pharisees, religious men cloaked in law but blind to grace. They smirked, believing they had won, that justice had been served. The crowd, some faces I recognized. Some had once followed, had once eaten the bread I broke, had once listened to the words I spoke. Now they stood there, swayed by fear, by pressure, by the madness of the crowd. And even my friends, my beloved disciples, they were gone, afraid, hiding. Only John remained, and Mary, my mother, her heart torn with a pain no words could ever describe. In this moment, suspended between heaven and earth, I could feel everything. Not just the searing pain in my body, but the sorrow in their souls. They did not understand. They could not see. Their hands swung hammers. Their voices cried for blood. But their hearts were lost, clouded by ignorance and fear. I was not here because they were powerful. I was here because love chose this path. I breathed in deeply, each breath a battle. The weight of my own body pressed against my lungs, and the crown of thorns dug deeper with every slight movement. Pain screamed through my nerves, yet something louder rose within me. Compassion. And so I spoke. Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Not a cry of vengeance, not a whisper of hate, but a prayer, a plea, a bridge stretched out in blood and mercy between heaven and a world that had lost its way. They did not know. They did not know the one they struck was the very breath in their lungs. They did not know that with every drop of blood spilled, a seed of redemption was being sown. They did not know that the cross they had raised would become the very symbol of hope for generations to come. And still, I loved them. Even as they cursed me, I loved them. Even as they pierced my side, I loved them. Even as they mocked my name, I whispered theirs before the throne of my Father. Forgiveness is not born out of justice. It is born out of love. And love is not a feeling. It is a decision, a sacrifice, a laying down of self. I had taught them this. On hillsides, in boats, in temples, I had spoken of love that turns the other cheek, of mercy that flows even for enemies. But now was the final sermon. Not with words, but with wounds. Not from a pulpit, but from a cross. The greatest message I would ever preach came not in parables, but in pain. I looked into the eyes of a centurion, his brow furrowed, confused. He had seen many die, but never like this. Never one who offered forgiveness to his killers. I saw something shift in him, a crack in the stone wall of his heart. A seed planted. That seed would grow. I looked upon the crowd again, still shouting, still blind. But I did not curse them. I could not. My mission was not to condemn, but to redeem. I had come not to crush them beneath the weight of their sin, but to carry it in my own flesh. Father, forgive them, not just those present, but all who would one day betray, all who would hurt others out of their own brokenness, all who would turn their backs on truth because it was too painful to face, all who, like these, were just lost. Forgive them, because they do not know. They do not know how words wound deeper than swords. They do not know how silence can scream in the soul. They do not know how anger becomes poison when it is left to fester. They do not know how their fear leads them to hurt the ones they once loved. And so, I ask for their forgiveness, not because they deserve it, but because I love them. I love you. Yes, you, watching this now. You who carry wounds from your past. You who have been betrayed, lied to, abandoned. You who have felt the sting of rejection or the ache of loss. You who have held bitterness close like a shield, believing it would protect you. You too do not always know. You don't always see how your pain becomes the pain of others. You don't always understand how your own wounds cry out through your actions. But I do, and I forgive you, as I forgave them. Even now, this moment, I speak your name before the Father, not with condemnation, but with compassion. My cross was not the end. It was a beginning, place where justice met mercy, where wrath met grace, where hatred was consumed by love, and where forgiveness triumphed over judgment. Let this be the beginning for you too. Let the words I spoke from this cross echo in your soul. Father, forgive them. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is remembering without chains. It is choosing love when hate is easier. It is choosing peace when revenge is more satisfying. It is choosing healing when the wound is still fresh. And I, the Son of Man, chose it for you. Let the cross speak not only of my suffering, but of my heart. Let it tell you that even in the darkest hour, forgiveness is possible. That even when all light seems gone, grace still shines. And that no matter what has been done by you or to you, there is always a way back. Forgive them, forgive yourself, and let love write the rest of the story. Why did I say those words? Father, forgive them. Why, when the pain was so real, the cruelty so deliberate, the betrayal so complete? Why offer forgiveness in a moment that felt like the deepest rejection of love the world had ever known? Because they did not know, and because I did. I knew the truth. I saw beyond the hammer and the nails, beyond the shouts of "Crucify him," beyond the thorns, the spit, the laughter. I saw the root, the sickness, the blindness, the brokenness in the hearts of those who hurt me. They did not see me as the Messiah. They saw me as a threat, a disruption, problem, a stranger. They were afraid. And fear, when left to grow in the heart, becomes a terrible master. It blinds, it twists, it makes enemies of brothers, monsters of men. They thought they were preserving tradition, protecting the nation, keeping peace. They believed the lie that one man must die to save the many, and they could not see that I was willingly laying down my life to save even them. They did not know, but I did. I knew that the pain inflicted on me was not simply the result of evil hearts. It was the result of wounded hearts, confused hearts, misguided minds that had been led astray by centuries of division, of law without grace, of power without compassion. I had seen it all during my time among them. The way a child would flinch at the hand of a father not because he was loved, but because he was used to being struck. The way a woman wept in the shadows because the town called her unclean, unworthy, unwanted. The way the rich clutched their coins while the poor were starving, both afraid, one of losing, the other of never having. I walked among people who smiled in the streets but carried agony in their souls. So I came to bring healing, not just to the body but to the heart. Yet healing does not come through power. It does not come through revenge. It comes through love, and love always brings the cross. That is why I chose to forgive, because forgiveness is the path back to healing. Do you not see? When someone strikes you, when they betray you, when they humiliate you, it is tempting to strike back. Feels right, feels like justice, feels like strength, but it is a chain. Retaliation chains you to the very wound you wish to escape. You begin to carry the offense inside of you like a fire that never dies. You feed it with your thoughts, with your pain, with your memories, and that fire slowly consumes your joy, your peace, your ability to love. That is not freedom. That is a slow death. And I did not come so that you might die that way. I came to break the chain, When I forgave those who crucified me, I was not denying the pain. I was not pretending the injustice didn't happen. No, I felt every lash. I heard every insult. I tasted the vinegar on my lips. I knew the shame. I knew the loneliness. I knew the betrayal of friends and the betrayal of a people I loved. I was not numb to it, but I chose to respond with love, because love alone breaks the cycle. Hate only breeds more hate. Hurt people, but love heals. And forgiveness is the highest form of love. It is not natural. It is not easy. It is not logical, but it is divine. When you forgive someone, you are not declaring that what they did was okay. You are declaring that you will no longer be a prisoner to it. You are choosing to let the pain end with you. You are choosing peace even when they offer none. You are choosing heaven even while walking through hell. Many times in your life you will be wounded. By family, by friends, by strangers, sometimes by those you trusted most. There will be moments you cry alone in the night. Moments you scream into your pillow. Moments you stare at the ceiling wondering how it all went so wrong. In those moments, bitterness will knock on the door of your heart, and it will feel like a friend. It will whisper, "You don't deserve this. They should pay. Don't let this go. Don't forgive." But that voice is a thief. It steals your joy. It steals your future. It locks you in the past. Forgiveness is not for the other person. It is a gift you give yourself. Do you understand? Even if they never say, "I'm sorry," even if they are no longer in your life, even if they continue to hurt others, forgiveness is not permission for them to keep hurting you. It is your decision to step out of the cage they put you in and to walk in the freedom I died to give you. I forgave them because I loved them and because I wanted you to know that forgiveness is possible, even in the worst of pain. Think of this. What would the world be if I had not forgiven them? What if I had cursed them? What if, from the cross, I had said, "Father, punish them"? The cross would not be a symbol of hope. It would be a monument of wrath. But I chose the better way, the narrow road, the way of love, the way of grace. And I am asking you now, will you follow me on that path? I know it's not easy. I know the pain you carry is deep. Some of you have been wronged in ways so cruel, so unfair, that the idea of forgiveness feels like betrayal to your own soul. But I am not asking you to forget. I am not asking you to pretend it didn't hurt. I am not asking you to trust the person again. I am asking you to release them, to release yourself from the burden of hate. Bring it to me. Lay it at the foot of my cross. I can carry it. I already have. Do not let their sin define the rest of your life. You are more than what they did to you. You are more than the wound. You are mine. And I have called you not to live in bitterness, but in love. Not in chains, but in freedom. Not in darkness, but in light. Forgiveness is the door to that light. It does not erase the past, but it transforms your future. It allows you to breathe again, to sleep again, to live again. When I said, "Father, forgive them," I was not only speaking of those at the foot of my cross. I was speaking to all humanity, to every act of betrayal, to every cruel word, to every broken vow, to every abandonment, every abuse, every injustice. I was saying, let the punishment fall on me so that healing can fall on them. Let love win. Let grace cover. Let the cycle of hurt end here. It ended with me, can end with you. If you have been carrying pain, bring it to me. If you have been struggling to forgive, tell me. If your heart feels heavy with resentment, I will lift it. I did not die just to forgive sin. I died so that you could live free from it. Free from the sin done to you as well as the sin done by you. You can be free. You will be free. But the path begins with forgiveness. That is the mystery of the cross. It is not a place of death. It is a place where death is defeated. It is not a place of shame. It is a place where shame is undone. It is not a place of hopelessness. It is the very gate of hope. And it all began with a choice, a whispered prayer. Father, forgive them. Let those words be your anthem. Let them be the cry of your soul. Let them echo through the caverns of your memory and break every chain. You do not have to live bitter. You do not have to live angry. You do not have to carry the weight of unforgiveness. Carried it for you. Now come, let us walk this path together. Let me teach you how to love again. Let me teach you how to live again. Let me show you the power that is only found in forgiveness. The world may not understand it, but I do, and so will you. Forgiveness is not without cost. Never let anyone tell you it is easy. It is not a casual word or a momentary feeling. It is a decision that carves deep into the soul. Takes courage, takes strength, and sometimes it takes everything. I would know. Forgiveness cost me everything. When I spoke those words, Father, forgive them, I was not speaking from a place of comfort. I was not seated on a throne. I was not surrounded by peace or kindness. I was hanging between two criminals, my body broken, my heart heavy, my soul pouring itself out like water. And still, I forgave. Why? Because forgiveness is the only thing powerful enough to turn death into life. And not just for me, but for you. I did not forgive to make a statement. I forgave to make a way. Forgiveness is the bridge between despair and hope, between hurt and healing, between hatred and love. And someone has to build that bridge, even if it costs them everything. I laid down my life so that you could cross that bridge. But it was not easy. You see, forgiveness hurts. Forgiveness is not ignoring pain. It is feeling it fully and choosing love anyway. When I forgave those who nailed me to the cross, it didn't erase the pain. The nails still tore through my hands. The thorns still pierced my head. The whip still marked my back. But I bore it, not only for the world, but for each one who would one day need strength to do the same. I know what it feels like to be betrayed. Judas was not a stranger. He was a friend. He walked with me, ate with me, heard every sermon, saw every miracle, and yet he sold me for the price of a slave. Have you been betrayed? I have too. I know what it feels like to be abandoned. When they arrested me, my closest companions ran. Peter, the one who swore he would die for me, denied he even knew me. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Have you been left alone in your darkest hour? I have too. I know what it feels like to be misunderstood. Crowds once cheered for me. They laid palm branches before me, crying, Hosanna! But within days, the same voices shouted, Crucify him! Have people turned on you? I understand. I know what it feels like to be falsely accused, to be mocked, to be shamed, to suffer unjustly. I know what it feels like to give everything and receive hatred in return. I did not forgive because they deserved it. I forgave because I could not let their actions define who I am. I am love. I am mercy. And forgiveness is my language. The power of forgiveness is not in what it changes around you, but what it changes within you. It doesn't always reconcile relationships. It doesn't always restore trust, but it restores you. It cleanses your heart from the poison of bitterness. It sets your soul free from the chains of revenge. It gives you peace where there once was torment. That is power, and that is why forgiveness is never weakness. Forgiveness is the fiercest kind of strength. To look at someone who wounded you, who broke you, abandoned you, humiliated you, and say, You do not control me anymore. I release you. That takes courage. It's not easy to stand in the ruins of what someone else destroyed and still choose healing. But that is what I did. And that is what I want to show you how to do. Many of you watching this carry wounds. Deep wounds. Wounds from years ago that still bleed when touched. Wounds from words that were spoken over you. Wounds from people who should have protected you, but instead left you with scars. You've tried to move on. You've tried to forget. You've tried to stay strong. But there's a heaviness in your soul that you can't explain. And no matter how many distractions you chase, It's still there. You've dressed the wound, but you haven't healed. You've covered the pain, but you haven't forgiven. I know, because I see your heart, and I weep with you. I wept in Gethsemane too. I cried out, Father, if it is possible, take this cup from me. Even I, the Son of God, felt the agony of what forgiveness would require. And yet I said, not my will, but yours be done. Forgiveness will always cost something. Pride, justice, control. But it will always give more than it takes. It will give you peace in the storm. It will give you strength in your weakness. It will give you the ability to look back, not with anger, but with understanding. There is power in that. There is power when you say, what they did hurt me, but it will not destroy me. There is power when you declare, their choices will not define my destiny. There is power when you decide, I forgive, not because they're worthy, but because I am. I am worthy of freedom. I am worthy of healing. I am worthy of a future not tied to my past. And in that moment, you become more like me. That is the power of the cross. It does not erase suffering. It redeems it. It does not deny pain. It transforms it into purpose. Your pain is not wasted. Your tears are not forgotten. Everything you have endured, I saw it, and I can use it. If you give me your broken pieces, I can make something beautiful. But first, you must let go. Let go of revenge. Let go of the bitterness. Let go of the hatred. Let go of the story you've been telling yourself, that you'll never be okay until they apologize, until they pay, until they feel what you felt. That's not your healing. That's your prison. I have something better. I have freedom. I have peace. I have joy. But it's on the other side of forgiveness. Will you trust me? Will you give me your pain? Will you open your hands and release the weight you've carried for so long? I know you're scared. I know it feels like if you forgive, they win. But forgiveness doesn't let them win. It lets you win. Because when you forgive, you say, my soul belongs to no one but God. You reclaim your story. You reclaim your joy. You reclaim your heart. You reclaim your life. And I will be with you every step of the way. I will help you. I will hold you when it hurts. I will whisper truth when lies scream the loudest. I will strengthen your hands when you feel too weak to let go. Because I know what it costs to forgive. And I know what it gives in return. It gave me you, and it will give you your freedom. So come to the cross again. Look at my face. Look at the crown of thorns. Look at the nails in my hands. Look at the blood poured out for you. This is love. This is mercy. This is what forgiveness looks like. And if I, in my suffering, could say, Father, forgive them, then you, in your pain, can too. Not by your strength, but by mine. Let me carry you. Let me walk with you. Let me teach you the power of forgiveness. Because when you forgive, you look most like me. And in that moment, your soul finds rest. You may wonder how a story written over 2,000 years ago could possibly speak to your life today. You may think my suffering was sacred and distant, something holy, something divine, something unlike anything you've ever faced. But I want you to know this. I stepped into human pain so I could meet you in yours. I bled so you would know your wounds are not invisible to me. I wept so you would never cry alone. I was rejected so you would never question your worth again. And I forgave so you could too, because your story is not so different from mine. You've been misunderstood. You've spoken with sincerity, only to have your words twisted. You've loved with your whole heart, only to be cast aside like you didn't matter. You've held the hands of those you trusted, only to watch them walk away when you needed them most. So did I. You've endured seasons where the silence of heaven felt louder than your screams. So did I in the garden, when the weight of the world pressed on me like crushing stone. You've longed for justice that never came. You've carried questions that still haunt you. You've wanted to forgive, but part of you just didn't know how. I understand, and I am not far from you. I am not looking down at your pain from a distance. I am not shaking my head in disappointment. I am right here, beside you, whispering what I whispered through the blood on my lips. Forgive them, not because it's easy, but because it's the only way you can live again. You see, forgiveness is not forgetting. It's not pretending the pain didn't happen. It's not erasing your story or minimizing your trauma. Forgiveness is acknowledging that the pain was real and choosing to not let it define who you are anymore. You are not the bitterness that's grown in your heart. You are not the betrayal that broke your trust. You are not the abandonment that left you hollow. You are not the injustice that still echoes through your nights. You are mine, and I made you for freedom. I made you for healing. I made you to walk unchained through this world, not weighed down by the heaviness of anger or the poison of resentment. Forgiveness is not something you give to the one who hurt you. It is something you give to yourself. You may think, but they don't deserve it. And you're right, but neither did those who spat in my face. Neither did those who whipped me, mocked me, drove nails through my flesh. I didn't forgive because they earned it. I forgave because the love inside me was greater than the hatred shown to me. And I want to plant that same love inside of you, because hatred is a prison, and you were never meant to live in chains. Some of you are still holding on to pain from years ago, childhood wounds, marriages that fell apart, words that were spoken in anger, people who should have stayed but didn't, people who said they loved you but only knew how to break. You've smiled through the hurt, you've kept going, but deep down you're still bleeding. I see it, and I want to touch that place. Let me touch your memory. Let me into the moment it all went wrong. Let me walk into the room where the yelling started, where the silence grew louder than screams, where you stopped believing you were enough. I was there then, and I am here now. Let me whisper to your younger self. You are loved. You are seen. You are worth so much more than what they made you feel. Let me take that burden. Let me carry what you were never meant to hold. Because the forgiveness I offer you is not just about forgiving them, it's also about forgiving you. So many of you are angry at yourselves for staying too long, for not speaking up, for believing lies, for failing, for falling, for trying and still being hurt. You blame yourself. You relive the moment over and over, wondering what you could have done differently. Let it go. Let me heal that too. I didn't die so you could stay bound by shame. I died to break every chain. Forgiveness is the only path to wholeness. And it's not a one-time decision. It's a journey. There will be days when you feel free and days when the wound reopens. That's okay. I will walk with you every day. When the bitterness rises again, I will remind you that love is stronger. When the tears come back, I will hold you. When your heart feels weak, I will carry you. Because your pain matters to me. But more than that, you matter to me. You are not just a number in the crowd. You are not forgotten. You are not too broken. You are not too late. You are still in the story. And forgiveness is the turning point. Imagine waking up tomorrow without the weight on your chest. Imagine no longer flinching at their name. Imagine being able to love again, trust again, breathe again. That is possible. Not because you're strong, but because I am strong in you. You may not feel like you can forgive, but if you let me live in you, I will do it through you. It is my spirit that makes the impossible possible. I can soften your heart without diminishing your pain. I can bring light into places you thought would always stay dark. I can bring laughter to a soul that's forgotten how to smile. That is the miracle of forgiveness. It brings resurrection, and I am the resurrection and the life. When I rose from the grave, I didn't come back with revenge in my hands. I didn't return to punish those who failed me. I came back with peace. I came back with healing. I came back with open arms. Because love always wins. And I want you to win too. Let me show you what it means to live free. Free from carrying their sin on your shoulders. Free from replaying that moment every time you close your eyes. Free from pretending to be strong when you're breaking inside. Free to be soft again. Free to feel again. Free to hope again. That freedom begins with one word: forgive. And yes, it may take time. But each time you choose love over hatred, each time you pray for the one who hurt you, each time you refuse to let the past control your future, you are becoming more like me. And in doing so, you are healing. So don't rush the journey. Just take the next step. And I will be with you. You are not alone in this. Many of my children have walked this path. Many have forgiven the unforgivable. Many have chosen mercy when everything in them wanted justice. And you can too, because you were made in my image. Forgiveness is not beyond you. It is within you because I am within you. And when you forgive, something beautiful happens. Your story changes. No longer just a story of pain, but of redemption. No longer just a story of betrayal, but of beauty. No longer just a story of heartbreak, but of healing. You become a light in a dark world. You become a living testimony that love is stronger than hate. You become the evidence that resurrection is real, not just for me, but for every soul who chooses to forgive. So take my hand. Walk this path with me. Let me turn your scars into strength. Let me write a new chapter. Let me show the world, through your life, that even in suffering, love still wins. And that the words I once whispered on the cross can become the words you live by. Father, forgive them. They didn't know what they were doing. You've heard my voice. You've stood with me at the cross. You've looked into my eyes, blood-streaked and swollen, as I whispered what no one expected. Father, forgive them. You've walked with me through the pain. You've seen the betrayal. You've felt the silence. You've watched the nails go in. You've felt what it means to be pierced by others, by life, by loss. And now here you are standing at a crossroads. One road is familiar, is paved with memories, wounds, bitterness, the need to be right, the ache for justice. It's the road the world calls strength, but it's a strength that hardens your heart and exhausts your soul. The other road is narrow, it's gentle, it asks for something more. It's the road of surrender, of healing, of resurrection. It's the road of forgiveness, and I'm inviting you to walk it with me. I'm not asking you to forget what happened. I'm not pretending the pain was small. I'm not asking you to say that it was okay, because it wasn't. Some of what you endured was deeply wrong. Some of it broke you in places no one sees. But I am asking you to give me what you've been holding on to. That anger, that wound, that face that haunts you, that moment that replayed in your head for years. I'm asking you to lay it down, not because they deserve it, but because you do. Because you deserve to live free. I know it's not easy. Forgiveness feels like letting go of control. It feels like saying, it's fine, when it's not. But real forgiveness is not weakness. It is the fiercest kind of courage. It says, I will not let this pain own me any longer. It says, I will not stay in the grave of bitterness. It says, I will rise, because that's what I did. I rose not just so you could believe in heaven someday, but so you could live today. So you could walk in the power of resurrection now. So you could breathe again, love again, begin again. You see, forgiveness is not the end of your story. It's the beginning. It's the moment where the tomb cracks open and the light pours in. It's the morning after the longest night of your life. It's where death ends and life begins. But you must choose it. I won't force you. That's not how love works. I didn't force them to follow me. I didn't force them to believe. I didn't force them to repent. I simply stood there, bleeding love, and waited. And I will wait for you too. But know this, the freedom you long for is on the other side of forgiveness. The peace you've prayed for begins when you open your hands and release the burden. The future you were created for begins the moment you say, enough. I won't carry this anymore. I know what it feels like to be nailed down, but I also know what it feels like to rise. And now that resurrection is yours. If you let me be your strength when yours runs out. Let me be your voice when you don't have words. Let me carry what you cannot carry. Let me break every chain. Some of you have been angry for decades. Some of you have smiled on the outside and died inside. Some of you have avoided certain names, certain streets, certain family gatherings, certain thoughts, just to keep from bleeding again. You've built walls so high not even light could get in. But I am the light, and I am here. I am knocking, not to expose your pain, but to redeem it. Not to condemn you, but to comfort you. Not to make you feel guilty, but to give you grace. The world taught you that forgiveness means weakness, that it means surrendering your power. But here's the truth. Unforgiveness is the real prison. Every time you replay the offense, you're back in chains. Every time you bite your tongue and pretend you're fine, you're back in chains. Every time you say, "I'll never trust again," you're back in chains. And I came to break those chains, not just for you, but through you, because your forgiveness will become someone else's freedom. Your healing will help others heal. Your story will speak to those who feel hopeless. This is how redemption works. I take the ashes, the broken pieces, the things you thought were wasted, and I breathe life into them. And suddenly, your pain has purpose. Suddenly, your past becomes a testimony. Suddenly, your scars shine. They don't disappear, but they stop bleeding. They become beautiful. They become holy. Some of you need to forgive others. Some of you need to forgive yourselves. And some of you need to forgive me. You've blamed me for what you went through, for what didn't happen, for who didn't stay, for the silence, for the heartbreak. You've asked, "Where were you?" And I've heard every word. I was there. I wept when you wept. I stood beside your hospital bed. I sat in the corner of your dark room. I held your hand when you didn't even know it. I've never left you, not for one moment. But I never override free will. I never force love. And in a broken world, people still hurt each other. But I have never stopped working to turn it all for good. Even now. So let it go. Let go of what could have been. Let go of what should have happened. Let go of what they said. Let go of what you tell yourself every night. Let go. And let me lead you into a new beginning. Let me write a new story with you. It starts with forgiveness, and it continues with freedom, and it ends with glory. I see you, the real you, not just the one they see in church, not the one who smiles for the world. I see the tired version, the aching version, the version that hides behind strength and laughter and busy schedules. And I love you. There is nothing you've done that scares me away. There is no sin I didn't already carry. There is no shame I didn't already absorb. You don't need to clean yourself up for me. You just need to come. Come with your pain. Come with your questions. Come with your trembling heart. Come with your broken pieces. And I will meet you there, at the foot of the cross, where blood met mercy, where pain met purpose, where death met resurrection, where love spoke its loudest word. Forgive. And if you say yes, here's what happens next. You begin again. You smile without faking it. You sleep without nightmares. You breathe deeply for the first time in years. You see the one who hurt you, and your heart no longer burns with rage. You remember what happened, but you're no longer defined by it. You're no longer a victim. You are victorious. You are free. You are alive. And as you walk this journey, know this: forgiveness is not a finish line. It's a way of life. You will have days when it feels easy, and days when it feels impossible. But I will be with you in every moment. I will remind you that love never fails. I will help you when you fall. I will lift you when the burden feels heavy. And I will keep whispering the words that changed everything. Father, forgive them. Now it's your turn. Speak it out loud. Not for them, for you, for your healing, for your future. Say it even if your voice shakes, even if your eyes fill with tears, even if you don't fully believe it yet. Father, I forgive them. Let it be the start of a new day. Let it be your resurrection. And as you do, watch what happens. Watch your heart soften. Watch your spirit rise. Watch your chains fall. Because I am not just the God who died. I am the God who lives. And if I live in you, forgiveness is possible. Freedom is possible. Everything is possible. Now go. Forgive, live, shine. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not too broken. You are mine, and you are free.